2, it prepares muscles in a sports-specific way, improves the range of motion in both your muscles and joints. 4, it prepares our runners both physically and mentally for that day's practice. And 5, it helps increase our speed while reducing the risk of injury. The first stretch we do are arm circles. We hold our arms straight out to our side, start with small circles, gradually getting bigger, doing 20 forward, stopping, and then doing 20 to the back, again starting small, getting bigger. This stretch increases the blood circulation in the shoulder and stretches out the entire shoulder girdle. This is the torso twist. While it can be done several ways, we have our runners do it with their elbows bent at 90 degrees, kind of like how they are when they run. We start slowly, we gradually increase the range of motion. The key here is to keep the legs and hips still. This stretches the upper and lower back, getting the blood flowing. Next are trunk rotations. These can either be done with hands on hip or like we have JC doing, hands over her head. Again, we're going to start gradually working bigger. We'll do 15 to 20 to the right and then 15 to 20 going back the other direction. This stretches out the upper and lower back, but it also begins to incorporate the hamstrings as well. These are knee rotations. These are done to increase the blood flow into the knee joints. They can be done either with your hands on your knees or your hands off your knee like JC is doing right now. And again, this is to get blood flow into the joint. Make sure to go both directions, both clockwise and counterclockwise for 15 to 20 reps. Next are ankle rotations, and again it's the same process as with the knee. It's to get the blood flow, circulation going in the joint. Make sure we go both counterclockwise and clockwise for both the left and right foot. And again, we need to get that blood flowing, get the joint flexible, and again, hoping to increase the range of motion. Prisoner squats are our next stretch. The athlete's going to lock their fingers behind their head, have their feet shoulder width apart, elbows and shoulders are going to be back, so keeping the wide chest. Your torso is upright, so you're not to bend at the waist. Squat to parallel, then back up. Now this stretch targets the quadriceps, activates your core, and just about every other lower body muscle, including your glutes, hamstrings, and calves. Next is a sumo squat to stand. This time we're going to keep our hands underneath our toes. If you're not quite as flexible, maybe around your ankles. You're going to start in the squat position, lift up, keeping the chest wide and a flat back. One thing JC's doing wrong here is we'd like to have our feet a little wider than shoulder width apart instead of so close together. And again, 15 to 20 reps. These are our alternating split lunges. They can also be done more upright without your hands on the ground. Make sure when you bring the front leg forward that your knee does not go out past your toes, is to keep the strain off of your knee. This stretches your glutes, your hamstrings, your core, your quadriceps. 8 to 10 reps for each leg for a total of 15 to 20. Next is our IT band stretch. This starts out with a side squat, making sure our toes are pointed straight ahead. When we come up out of the side squat, bring the foot behind the other leg, rolling onto the side of the foot, and bringing the arms over the head to get that stretch all the way through the hips. We've incorporated this stretch to try to reduce the number of hip, knee, and back pains that some of our athletes were experiencing. Next is our leg swing with partners. Now this can also be done individually, either using a fence or a wall for balance. We're going to start with both feet directly under our hips, then we're going to swing the outside leg forward and backward, gradually increasing the range of motion until the leg swings as high as it will comfortably go. This is going to stretch the hip flexors, hip extensors, hip adductors, and hip abductors. Next is the side leg swings. Again, can be done with a partner or individually. The key is to keep the body stable and balanced. We're going to swing the legs fluidly without being bouncy or jerky actions. Stand upright, keeping the back straight. A slight forward lean like she has here is fine, but avoid bending forward at the waist or rounding the back. Both legs should be fairly straight and the knees shouldn't be locked. Next is the iron cross. You're going to start lying flat on your back with your arms straight out to the side, and then you're going to bring your leg across your body while trying to keep your shoulders on the ground. Gradually increase how high towards your head you bring your leg. This is going to warm up and lengthen the muscles in the lower back and hips. The more you straighten the leg when you bring it across your body, the more the hamstrings are going to get incorporated. Again, 15 to 20 reps total, which would be 8 to 10 reps for each leg. Next is the prone scorpion. This time we're going to be flat on our stomach with our arms out to the side. The key here is to bring your leg across your body, trying to touch the toe to the ground on the opposite side. Again, the key here is gradually increasing the range of motion as you go. This is going to stretch out the hip flexors, hip extensors, hip abductors, and hip abductors. Next we have our toe walks, which is part of our shin splint prevention. We're going to be straight up on our legs, as high as our toes as possible, taking small steps, walking 20 meters down, rest, and then 20 meters back. We'll do the same thing with our toes facing in. Again, as high as on our toes as possible, with our toes facing in, 20 meters down, rest, turn around, and walk back 20 meters again with our toes facing in, so we're hitting the shin from a different direction. And finally, toe walks with the toes out, which JC here needs to have her feet a little more pointed out, but again, toes pointed out, walking down 20 meters up on our toes as high as possible. Once we get 20 meters, we stop, relax for a few seconds, turn and walk 20 meters back. Next on our shin lifts would be toe lifts. This is going to be simply standing up on our toes for 30 seconds. We'll do anywhere from 2 to 3 sets of these. The final thing we do for our shin splint prevention are heel walks. This time we'll be on our heels with our toes pointed up as far as possible, and again taking small steps with our legs straight, 20 meters down, relax, turn, 20 meters back. Again, the key here, our toes pointed up as straight as possible, taking short steps. The final stretch we do as part of our shin splint prevention is what we call the 1, 2, 3 calf stretch. Again, we're going to take 3 steps and then reach down, grab our toe to stretch the calf out. Like the toe walks, these can also be done barefoot on the turf, but the key thing here is reach down, the toe up, grab the toes with a little squat, and get that calf stretched out. Alternating side lunges. We're going to start with our feet directly under our hips. We're going to step with our foot, making sure that our feet stay perfectly straight and that we don't roll up on the sides of our feet. Once we step out, we're going to gather our feet together again. We're going to do a 180-degree turn, do the same thing the other direction. We'll do this 15 meters down and then 15 meters back. These are walking lunges. We're going to step forward, keeping our toe and knee pointing directly forward. We're going to make sure to not let our front knee travel past our toes to keep the strain off of our knees. The back leg knee drops to just above the ground without touching. Arms will be at 90 degrees at the elbows, like as if we were running. We're going to push forward off the back leg, stepping over the opposite knee, and repeat the process again. This is going to be 15 meters down and back. It stretches our glutes, our quadriceps, and our hamstrings. Next are what we call walking knee hugs. We're going to have the athlete bring the knee to the chest, pull it in tight, then take a few steps forward and do the same thing with the opposite leg. Now we can add to this by when we pull the knee to the chest, also stepping up on the opposite leg on our toes and contracting our glutes. Next are walking quads. This time we're going to bend at the knee so that we can grab our foot behind us, pulling our knee to our buttocks. The key here is to not crank on the foot, but slowly push back on the knee to get the stretch in your quadricep. Again, we're going to do this 15 meters down, 15 meters back. This can also be done for a partner if you have trouble with your balance. Next are dino walks or mule kicks. The athlete's going to take a step forward, reach down and touch either the ground or their foot with their hands while raising the back leg behind them. This is going to help strengthen the core and stretch the hamstring. We'll do 15 meters down, 15 meters back, gradually increasing the range of motion as the athlete gets loose. Next are what we call Russians or high kicks. The athlete's going to step forward, swinging their foot in front of them, keeping their legs straight. We're gradually going to increase the height of the leg swing as they get loose. We're going to reach out with either arm to help maintain balance. A key point here is making sure that when we swing our leg in front of us, that we're keeping our legs straight, our toes straight. We want to keep everything in a straight line because after all, the fastest way down the track is a straight line. We don't want to be counterproductive. Next is our sumo walk. We're going to stand with our feet roughly twice shoulder width apart. And we're going to squat down. We're going to grab at our ankles. We're going to go down to parallel. We're going to hold for a brief second, back up, take a few steps, alternate directions, and repeat the process. Again, this is going to stretch out all the same things that the regular squat did, except really hit the inner thighs a lot harder. The last dynamic stretch we do is karaoke. Here we're going to make sure that when we bring the front leg over, we're going to snap it over, bringing it up to 90 degrees again. Focusing on that stepping over the opposite knee thing that we're really going to be focusing on in our speed drills.